In the beginning of the story, we are shown a girl named Katie. Katie wants to become a model, but she does not have money, due to which she works in a restaurant one day. Her friend comes to Katie in the restaurant. She sees Katie's modeling photos and says that this is a very old look, so Katie will have to get a new photoshoot done. But the fee of a good photographer is very high and Katie did not have any money at all. Now Katie starts going to her home. But she gets the numbers of some photographers inside the restaurant. These photographers do photo shoots for free. Katie takes the numbers from there and goes to her home. Katie reaches her building. A neighbor of hers used to live near her flat and perhaps they also liked each other. Going to her room, Katie calls that photographer. She talks to the photographer and the photographer tells her that photo shoots are done for free at our place. He sends his address to Katie and returns to his studio. The next day calls Katie to the studio. There she meets Ivan and his brother Georgie. Ivan asks Katie to wear a nice dress and sends her to the changing room. Katie starts the photo shoot wearing new clothes. During the photo shoot, Ivan stops. He tells Katie that if she wants to become a model then she will have to wear short clothes, but Katie was not ready for this at all. She wanted to become a model, but she will not wear short clothes. Katie asks him to delete the current photos and goes to her house. After some time the doorbell of Katie's house rings. She goes out and sees Georgie standing outside her house. He had come to give Katie her pictures, but Katie had come asking him to delete those pictures. Georgie tells her that he has deleted all the pictures by copying them inside this pen drive. Katie takes that pen drive from Georgie, takes it and she asks him to leave. From there the scene shifts and we are shown Georgie, who was still looking at Katie's photos inside the studio. Which means he lied to Katie. He had still not deleted Katie's pictures. The same night Katie is sleeping in her room, but at midnight she feels that someone is clicking her pictures. When she wakes up and looks, Georgie is sitting in front of her and he is clicking her pictures. Katie is very scared. She asks Georgie to leave her house, but even after Katie's repeated requests, Georgie does not leave her house. That is why Katie takes out a stun gun from her drawer and hits Georgie. Katie screams loudly and comes out of her room, but then Georgie comes from behind her, closes her mouth and pulls her inside the room, but Katie still does not stop screaming. On which Georgie hits her head. He hits her on the ground and stuffs a cloth in her mouth. Katie was unconscious. Georgie ties her hands, but Katie's neighbor woke up hearing the noises. He comes straight to Katie's room and sees that Katie was lying on the ground, but Georgie comes there and attacks her with a knife. He stabs her in the stomach with many wounds, after which he falls unconscious on the ground. Now Georgie kills him in front of Katie's neighbor and finally his neighbor dies after doing his work. Georgie starts regretting it. He feels that he has done too much. That's why he calls his brothers in panic. After some time Ivan and Nicholas come to Katie's house. Both of them are Georgie's brothers. Seeing a man lying dead there, Ivan understands what Georgie has done. He goes to the kitchen and brings some polo thin and asks his brothers to erase all the fingerprints from that room. Georgie tells his brother Ivan that he was completely intimate with Katie. If Katie's medical test is done then Georgie will be caught. That's why Ivan feeds a drug to Katie as soon as she eats. Katie falls unconscious. Katie opens her eyes and finds herself locked in a room. Her hands were tied with an iron chain and Nicholas was masturbating her, but then Georgie reaches there. He catches Nicholas and sends him away. He stops Nicholas from doing all this, on which both of them start arguing. Meanwhile, Katie feels thirsty and asks for water from them, but Nicholas tortures Katie and urinates on her face. Georgie stops him from doing so, but then Ivan reaches there. Ivan sees them fighting and calms them down. He brings a bucket full of water and instead of making Katie drink it, he throws it on her. Those people were preparing her for something. Nicholas and Ivan put a medicine in Katie's mouth, but Katie refuses to eat it, on which both of them forcefully beat her and kill her. They ask her to eat the medicine. Katie eats the medicine, but after they leave, she puts her finger in her throat and vomits it out. The medicine comes out. Katie sees a window upstairs in the same room, so she makes a plan. Now Georgie comes to get Katie ready. He had brought clothes for her. He reaches there and starts getting her ready, for which he has to untie Katie's hands. Then Katie attacks Georgie with a bucket and hits him a lot, after which she climbs up and gets out of that window. After getting out of the window, she starts roaming in the city and asks for help from people, but nobody could understand her language. Then Katie meets a police officer. He starts taking Katie with him to help her. He tells Katie that they are in Bulgaria. That is, Those people had brought Katie from America to Bulgaria. The police officer takes Katie to his office. He asks Katie about the whole incident. Katie tells him everything, but the police officer was not believing her words. He was not able to believe that the unconsciousness was true. How can someone bring Katie to Bulgaria in such a condition? He accuses Katie that she takes drugs and that is why she is having such hallucinations. That is why he asks Katie to go to the doctor, but Katie refuses. Katie tells him that she wants to go to her country, America. Then a woman named Anna comes to the police office and explains to Katie. She tells her that this has happened to her earlier too. That is why she can understand Katie's problem. The woman was ready to send Katie to America. She takes her to the American embassy, but on the way she tells Katie that she probably needs to change her clothes and she can go to the American embassy after freshening up a bit. Surprising, he tells her that her house is nearby. She can change her clothes there, after which she can go to her home in America. The woman takes Katie to her house and she tells Katie that her clothes are in the basement. Katie goes to her basement. When she opens the basement gate, she sees this is the same room where Katie was tied up when he went there. Ivan also comes from behind. That woman says to Katie that how dare you kill my son. After which Ivan grabs her hair and ties her back at the same place. Now they torture Katie even more. After some time, a man comes there and they were preparing Katie for this. This man was none other than the father of those boys. He had brought an electric shock rod with him and starts giving shocks to Katie. Katie suffers a lot, but the man does not agree. He gives her even more shocks. After which he gives shocks inside Katie's private part with that machine. Katie was begging for her life. She was suffering a lot, but that man does not stop Katie. After some time, Ivan comes inside that room. He sees that Katie's condition was very bad, but he is not satisfied with this. He beats Katie a lot and hits Katie's ribs. Katie was begging for her life from those people. Inside the same room, Nicholas and Georgie start digging a pit. After digging a very deep pit, Nicholas feels that there are stones below. That is why he stops digging the pit. Those people were going to bury Katie alive by locking her inside a box. Now they lock Katie alive inside the box and bury her there. Katie cries a lot. She asks God for help. She did not want to die alive inside the box. After some time, she feels a very strong shock. She comes out of the box. She sees that there was a sewer below the place where those people had buried her. That is why Katie's box fell inside the sewer while crossing that place, and due to falling down, her box opened. Katie stays there in the sewer for some time. She remains very upset. She drinks water from the dirty drain. There she had a lighter with which she lit a fire. There was a pigeon in front of her. She kills him, cooks him and eats him. Katie does this for a few days and finally when she gathers courage, she tries to come out of the sewer. When she comes out, she sees that a church was connected to the Sokka. She steals some food from the church father's room and goes back into the sewer. The church father comes to his room and sees that his food was scattered at night. Katie comes again to steal food, but this time the church father was sitting there. He gives some food and clothes to Katie, but Katie does not tell him anything about what happened to her because now she does not trust anyone. Now Katie gathers courage and starts roaming in the city. She was keeping an eye on those three boys. She sees an opportunity and enters their house and steals their money. One day, Georgie was sitting in a cafe. Then Katie comes in front of him with a plan. Georgie follows him. Katie starts chasing Nicholas and takes him to the sewer. As soon as Georgie reaches there, she attacks Georgie, opens her eyes and sees that he was tied with ropes inside the same sewer. Then Katie comes in front of him and starts torturing him. She inflicts many wounds on his body with a knife to torment him further. She rubs chili sauce on his wounds. On the other side, Nicholas was inside a bar. He had drunk a lot inside the bar. Then Katie reaches there and Nicholas sees her. Katie makes Nicholas chase her and takes him to the bathroom of the same bar. Nicholas was not able to stand on his feet due to being in an intoxicated state. Taking advantage of this, Katie attacks him. She grabs his neck and pushes his face into the dirty toilet. She does this again and again until Nicholas' mind is gone. After Nicholas' death, she goes away from the flood. On the other side, their father was praying inside the church, and this was the same church under which Katie lived in the sewer. Katie comes in front of him, due to which he also starts following her. When he reaches the sewer, Katie attacks him from behind and he falls unconscious. His eyes open and he sees that he was lying on the thorns. Katie had tied his hands and legs. Katie takes the same electric rod and gives shock to his private part, after which she inserts an iron wire very deep inside his mouth. She passes current in that wire, after which he feels electric shock inside his mouth. Katie increases the speed of the current even more due to the electric shock. His mouth starts burning and he dies. Now Katie goes to Anna. Anna was standing inside the basement where Katie was kept. Katie pushes her from the basement and makes her fall straight into the sewer. Anna also faints, her eyes open, and Katie had locked her inside a box. Katie hits that box on Anna's head and locks her inside the same box. On the other side we see Ivan. He reaches inside the house and takes her to the house, but he does not find anyone. He goes to the basement of his house. He sees that the place where he had buried Katie had broken and fallen down into the sewer. He understood everything now. He goes inside the sewer in search of Katie. But Katie was already prepared for him. Ivan reaches the sewer and sees that Katie had tied Georgie to the wall and tortured him a lot. Meanwhile, Katie attacks Ivan's head from behind. When Ivan opens his eyes, he is also lying down at a place. His hands and legs were tied. Katie had kept his testicles between a pressing machine. Here Katie comes to know that Anna is not Ivan's mother. Ivan's father kidnapped Anna like Katie, after which she kept him with herself, and finally Nicholas was born. Now Katie starts torturing Evan. She pulls out his nipples and starts pressing his testicles with the freshening machine. She presses testicles completely. First on the other side, we are shown the father of the church. The father of the church meets the police officer. This is the same police officer to whom Katie had gone bathe. Father of the church was a friend of the police officer. He tells him everything about how he saw an American girl inside the sewer. Hearing this, the police officer understands that the girl is Katie. The police officer reaches inside the sewer with his gun. He sees that Katie had tied Evan there and she was torturing him. The police officer asks her to stop and Katie stops, but then Evan gets up from his place and catches Katie. He was about to kill her by strangulating her neck, but then the police officer shoots Ivan in the head and kills him. The police officer takes Katie away from there, tells her to leave and arrests Anna. Katie reaches the American embassy and from there she will go to America, and the movie ends here.